Hello everyone, welcome to the Quitters Room. Today is July 14th, and our first episode. Shit! And on our third episode, we will make a quick review of what Petscop, but our main themes will be the first two episodes. I am Xander, and I'm with these fucks. Hope you people enjoy.
There we go, we got our before segment. That's perfect. Hello everybody and welcome to the Quitters Room. Today is July 14th, 2017, and for our third episode, we'll be talking about Petscop 3 and 4, plus any little extra stuff we want to talk about. My name is Hawk, and with me today we have JJ.
Hello.
Subwoofer.
Hello.
Tatacat.
Hello.
We have Jelladrone.
Hello.
And Wooden Hornets.
That's me.
We also have MultiSuperVids.
Hello.
And we have a very large cast today. I say we start talking about the Child's Library. So with the Child's Library, it was never something I really got, to be honest. It was just kind of like weird. Like, why faces? Why these rooms? Why what? If it's a library, like, does that mean you just check out kids? Like, what? It was always something I never understood.
I mean, going along with what Xander said in the past, at least on his theory on the daycare thing, if I'm thinking of the right thing,
yeah,
it could kind of fall in line with that. Otherwise, I'm not too sure.
Child's Library. Well, I assume there's like a parallel with that and the Even Care Center. Because I'm sorry, like I always said, and like I said last time, I do not believe Even Care is a reference to like the afterlife. I think I honestly think it's obviously a daycare center.
Yeah, or an adoption center.
Like, literally, there's not. I don't think there's anything other than clouds that represent it as maybe possibly heaven. Like, everything else leads to like adoption.
Also, the gift thing.
Gifts, yeah.
Which is like, because it said Mike is a gift, but I think that references something else. Which, speaking of which, a lovely, lovely person on Tumblr, they go by That's a Dead Kid on Tumblr. They had a theory, and they said, wouldn't it be wild if the censor block from the birthday present was Mike's dead body because Mike was a gift? And I thought that was really interesting. And then,
then I figured out, then I led up with that with the whole, there's a 9 on the candle in that episode in that same room where the box opens. And the 9, if we're going by like, by math, like Petscop came out in 1997, Mike got killed or he just died. I don't know, just out of nowhere. He just died on 1995, so that'd be 2 years after. And so he'd be 9 years old at that point. So I think that's pretty much Mike's room.
There's another detail I would like to mention about the child library, and it's that when Paul tries to leave Amber on the that weird elevator thing where you place something, it shows up a message saying that the child library only accepts people.
That always creeped me out.
This is one of the things that makes me think that pets are not considered people, at least anymore. Maybe they were on maybe some time ago, but all that stuff that people said about the things on Even Care, talking about the pets as somebody, I think this is kind of a contradiction, or it's maybe the pets were people, but they just aren't people anymore.
Well, out of curiosity, what makes you think they were ever considered people? Like, just in case I missed something.
I personally haven't gone deeper on on this, but there were a lot of theories since the first episode of Petscop that said pets were people, and I read some of them, like for example the things which say choose someone that you like instead of choose something that you like.
Yeah, they definitely refer to the pets as people. Like they kind of subtly do it. Like it's not like straight in your face, but there is like that other quote that kind of confirmed me, which was find somebody that you like. You don't have to love them right away. Like I think that's implicating that they're people.
But I think that's something more like trying to be. It's something that is trying to be more effective to the pets, maybe. I don't think it necessarily means that
I think that's just an adoption agency doing its thing. People anthropomorphize pets and animals all the time.
Maybe something to consider, and just as a little disclaimer, I'm not really an expert on Petscop, so if there is something that exists that counter goes against this, then if there is, then whatever. But going off of what JJ just said, I wonder if it's a matter of a place like Even Care considers the pets people, but in the New Maker plane they're not considered people. Like it's a difference somehow. But just a thought.
I interpreted that message as sort of like if we're going by the theory that the pets could represent disabilities, then it's implying that like parents don't consider these disabled people. They don't consider them people. They consider them obstacles, like just something in the way that they have to deal with. So they throw them away. They throw them back into the library. And in 6 months you can take it back, but if not, they're just doomed.
I mean, people already kind of people do that even when the kid isn't fucked up. That's just like, kids get abandoned at times. It's not always because there's something wrong with them. Could be douchebag parents, or the parents just straight up can't care for the kid. Either way, it's not really. There's nothing sinking directly to disabilities in any way. At least in the real life equivalents.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, I've just always found it weird that, like, when you try to put, I think it was Amber, or he tried to put a pet in there, it said only kids could enter, but then you put care in there and it works. It's like, if they're meant to represent people, wouldn't it work? Like, I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Kids are like a subtype of pet.
I guess. Yeah, that
so
could
you've
work.
got like animal pets, which have the majority, and then you got like plant pets like Randus, and then you got kid pets like Care.
Oh, so like
classifying them.
Amber's just her pet rock.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like they're all just imaginary friends. That would be such a bad twist.
Amber's actually got googly eyes. They don't show it, but I promise you, those are googly eyes stapled to a rock.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, so like, are the pets actually pets? Do they represent disabilities? There's so many different things that contradict. Like,
I could buy disabilities, especially from the note left in Amber's room. How they kind of talk very subtly about like the idea of obesity and how it affects her, and then like how they kind of say, "Oh, she has this problem, and now it's going to be your problem. You have to deal with it." Like that's like I don't know. That seems pretty representative of that.
I can believe that.
I didn't get obesity from that. I thought that was just like wanting to stay inside.
Yeah,
like
I got more.
Like it actually says like she's pretty heavy, and that's a problem, and it will be your problem.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, doesn't it, huh? I got more of the fact that she wanted to stay in her cage. I thought that was more manipulation rather than it was more representing manipulation rather than
I think
obesity.
it's somewhat towards Amber being a fucking rock.
Actually, it actually led me to like I don't know, a few times after watching it, I doubt this is probably linked to it, but it actually led me thinking of those old TV specials. I don't remember what it was on. I think it was like My Strange Addiction or something. It was like those weird man.
Yeah, like
children.
the lady who would like huff paint.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking
like,
about like those like grown adults that like are really obese and they live in like baby cages.
Adult babies, yes.
Yeah, the adult babies. They just stay in their
That's-
cage.
That's more of a lifestyle rather than a thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
but it
it's
kind of just
more of a
reminded me
kink.
of it.
It's still a strange obsession. I would say that's fitting to the title.
I think, like, you do you, man. I'm not gonna get into that. I think it's more of a kink / a lifestyle, depending on the person. And it's like, if that makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anybody, go for it, man. Like, we're all into weird shows. Like, oh
True.
well.
Want to see
I
my
think-
meat room? Passion.
Like,
Yeah.
I think I do follow one person that does it.
I mean,
The
there's
other
Randus is just
We've already
like,
talked about this like every episode, legit.
well, it seemed
Yeah.
Roneth have a broken leg or something?
here's my theory. Randus is one of those people like a quad amputee with no arms or legs. That's why it's a plant. Can't do jack shit by itself.
Here's something I think, like, again, I don't know. This is just kind of a thought I had. I know that there's the theory linking, like, all the pets to a certain disability. I think maybe something to watch out for or try to research at some point is see if, like, because we already know that, like, the Candace Newmaker thing, while Petscop isn't all about that, it was a method of showing, like, hey, this is kind of maybe the theme of the game is child abuse or whatever. I think maybe... I wonder if it would benefit to try and research certain cases where to use Amber as an example, you have a popular case of child abuse where the child happened to have been obese and was also manipulated into like a cage or something or a confined area, and all the pets are actually supposed to resemble a certain case in history of a famous case of child abuse, maybe.
I could, yeah.
That would-
I mean, like that would connect actually to my article that I found that I kind of got into a little bit. It's the girl who vanished in 1977 in a backyard and was abducted for child abuse.
That
And
is, yeah.
It connects well to how the windmill caused a girl to disappear and be reborn in 1970. And they use the same type of dialogue, which in the article it says she vanished into thin air, and the dialogue in the game says she seemed to have vanished into thin air with the windmill.
I mean, that's
That-
a really common phrase.
Well, it's just
True.
kind of strange. Like it's a similar thing, and this wasn't like like again, this is not really an obscure story. This was actually something that was really popular at its time. I don't know, like a lot of these cases could be very well connected, not just Candace Newmaker.
Yeah,
If
maybe
it
like
was-
the story is less so like one tale and more just like a collection of all these stories throughout history where the linking factor is either child abuse or maybe it's something else that pans out to something bigger is, more episodes are possibly released, I don't know.
And it would make total sense for the cases to all be linked. If like we're gonna assume that like this ARG, like we act like it could exist in our world, then it would make sense for the things that these children to be based on real people, like people that actually like lived through this trauma and stuff. And then like they had to be like they got pretty much sent to this game as like kind of like purgatory, but not really.
It's not really an ARG. That's just like, hey, yeah, these two things line up. It's more or less just like a web series.
Oh my
It's not
goodness,
really a
yeah.
game at that point.
If it was that each pet represented a specific case of something, that would be plenty of fucked up in a lot of ways, and I love it. I love it. That would be the best. Well, that'd be like really interesting to me personally.
Oh, yeah, shit could get real dark at the end. It's like Paul's the guy behind all these. Like nobody knows who done it. Paul.
I don't think it's Paul.
This is his confession series.
I'm really doubting that. I don't know.
Also,
I doubted that Paul was personally involved until I was shown the about section change, and then maybe I can believe he's involved, but I'm really skeptical if he's guilty of any wrongdoing necessarily. But that's just me.
I think he was related to one of the people, to Rainer or whatever, or that was his friend, one of his friends. I don't know.
Yeah, the implication is that Paul was reborn. Like, I mean, like it seems like the game is straight up like asking Paul, like specifically. I mean, like if we're implying that like most of the things it's saying is like directed towards the player, then it literally was asking Paul, like, do you remember being born?
So you're saying Paul was reborn,
Like he
and
could
he
have
was
been.
like
And
the
then like, the game
reborn
came back.
version of this terrible, messed up person. Like,
Like it's either that or he just got
He
That
just got reborn? How does that make sense? He sounds
He
like
just
he's like
popped up in there
20.
one day. Don't question it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
Don't
the
look too
finding
deep
of
into
Paul
it. You'll just get a
Rebirth.
headache.
Wait, well, I'm talking more about when he went to the like. Do we assume that he went to the windmill, or is that?
I assume they did, and he's gonna come back to Petscop
I'm
11
skeptical.
from that.
I mean, he doesn't sound like it's not like Scotland or something, or in England. Where was the actual windmill at? You remember?
Nobody knows. I know. I think
Yeah.
it was 70 Broad. He went to some location that might have been the windmill, I think, but he never said where it was.
There was
I
like
think
a
we do
Wikipedia thing though. It's like
Born.
same windmill. Why no one remembers this?
I don't know. Like, it just seemed very odd for him to like ask it where the windmill was. Then he doesn't show. Like he just censors it, and then he doesn't like come back. He like we assume that maybe he left, and then suddenly the character on the profile picture disappears. I know people are saying that's just a representation of him being like off the channel, like not like active, but I don't know. That seems like why would he do that? Like that
I
just
kind of
seems
want to take that literally as like he did that intentionally. He thought it would be like a cool thing. Like outside the meta polis, dude was like, yeah, it's gonna be cool. I tell them I'm gone, they'll notice. They're smart. Back in a few months, guys.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really. I don't personally buy it, but
I don't either, but that's just an entertaining thought.
So I know about that weird note in one of the rooms about the whole. I remember mentioning this in the second episode, but about the whole bathtub thing and about all that. Tatacat, you had a bunch to say about that last time. Do you have anything else about that?
I want to know what this is about bathtub. I don't think I remember this.
I remember exactly what Tatacat said. If she can't talk, like I can summarize it. Basically, what she discovered was the person who, it was the person who invented reattachment therapy. Thought of it in the bathtub.
Rebirthing therapy, not
Rebirthing
reattachment.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, rebirthing therapy. Thought of it while in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like gonna shoot her in the face with a gun. That note.
Oh yeah, that note. That note was just like, what the hell?
Wasn't that the bathtub note?
No, the bathtub note was different.
Okay.
Wait, no, they're in the same note.
They are?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure they're in the same note.
It goes
Am I just
like
stupid?
it goes like you're in the bathtub thinking about her. I'm pretty sure I know which child you'll pick next. She'll approach limping in the dark. You'll shoot her in the head. That's how.
Something like that. Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah.
just dark on so many levels. I think I just personally repressed that.
It is really dark. I don't know.
That's
Like
just
I
like,
didn't really
oh
know how to
my
take
God.
it though. Problem is that's something like I noticed with Petscop. It's like a lot of the creep out factor is just how much you don't know. Really like what they show you.
Yeah.
I mean, the getting shot in the face for isn't that creepy to me. It's more the fact that she was limping beforehand.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot more to add as far as the note. I mean, he's obviously, just from a narrative point of view, he's obviously trying to tie this into something either now or something coming up. But yeah, the what was his name, Leonard or whatever, who did the rebirthing therapy. I think that's a reference to him because he thought it up in the bathtub. Other than that, that's really all I have to add for that, I guess.
And anybody have anything else to say about the resting note, especially the coming from the dark limping or whatever that was? That's just
Well, I don't know. Like, what I guess could be interesting about that is, it could be like I don't know. I don't really know actually how to take my my theory about the Mick. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Mick Martin thing, how the idea that they were like taking these children as a cult. They sent them underground the school, like they put them in the underground tunnels in this, and just like tortured them and stuff. Like it really reminds me of that.
Explain what that was.
So the Mick Martin incident was an 80s to 90s case where children basically were implying and like they were just basically telling, they were like being very serious about it. The parents were also very serious about that. These two owners of this daycare center, this daycare, that underneath it there was a underground tunnel system that connected to their houses. Now that honestly sounds like it would connect to the child library idea and all the tunnels underneath the new, it's a new. And something interesting is that they said like they were sent down to the underground tunnels, they were abused, they were tortured sexually, they were raped and stuff like that. They were just like sent around limping through the tunnels and stuff like that. I read this from the book. It just sounds very similar. And there's all these other little things that kind of connect to the world of Petscop, which I'm like, is it like, it's also one of the most famous court cases of that time. And it happened before Petscop came to existence. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
I guess a little something that could be added on to that is Carrie is technically found underground, underneath a house.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And there is a way out from like the side, because at the bottom of the stairs you can turn right. You might end up back on the surface, but that could easily be said as something, you're going through a tunnel or something.
Also, honestly, the brick house, like even though it is a very simple lie, like the way to even care, it actually does kind of resemble the actual the primary school / daycare that all of this happened in. And the way to get through to the underground thing, it was through a cellar door. You had to go through a cellar door, and that's exactly how it is in Petscop. And just the idea that the tunnels actually, like they implied that the tunnels found a way to connect to their houses so they could like take them while they were sleeping. That is extreme red flags to me.
Yeah,
that could be about the child library easily.
That's effed up. And
this is where my fucked up mind comes in, and I'm like, how many failed attempts did those guys have? I wonder how many random holes were dug to the surface.
Yeah.
Is that what got them caught?
I don't know. I don't know much about this case.
It's a very long, tedious thing to get through. It's like there's a lot of things about it, but it's like it's also kind of similar to the Candace Newmaker thing, where like when you read it, you get really angry at these awful people. Oh, the other thing that actually kind of connects it in a way was the back and forth talking actually from the two people in the bathtub note. When they say, I have a feeling which child you'll pick next, you'll see in the dark. Because the two people were a couple, and they worked together. The two people who own the daycare, they worked together to come up with ideas of how to take the next child.
Oh my god. Also remember...
there's all these connections, and I'm like, is this connected?
Also remember that there is the school that we haven't yet seen. And I have a feeling that might maybe play into that a bit.
Yeah,
I personally think Mike was one of their victims.
The fact that they said, "Where is the school?" It's funny because after they were caught and they were like defeated in the court case, the school was then like they had to make it vanish. They had to completely act like it disappeared. They had to take it down and act like it didn't.
Really?
Yep.
That's weird.
Well, I mean, when
what
a school
about the machine?
does that, the school's going on to regardless.
I know, like obviously it would happen, but it again, it's another.
Also, what about that weird machine that it says?
I don't know what that's about.
In the window?
They did say they collected 1,000 pieces of evidence before they were stopped, and then like they're saying you need 1,000 pieces to finish the machine.
So you think that the machine references their capture, or could that just be a coincidence?
No, I was thinking more like maybe the things you're picking up are the little pieces of evidence that you back to like stop everything to break. Maybe. I don't know.
Literally puzzle pieces.
Well, wait, now, the actual McMurton preschool thing was debunked. I mean, the kids were basically being led into giving testimony of stuff that never could have happened. The whole McMurton preschool thing kind of changed the way that we now allow children to be questioned, because they try to please, and they made up incredible stories about, how they got taken by helicopter to go be sacrificed to Satan and stuff like that.
So wait, it was fake, or did this actually happen?
Well,
no, it was complete. Nothing ever happened. It was just really shoddy police work.
Wait,
they
what?
they were letting the kids be interviewed with leading questions for hours at a time and stuff like that, and the kids made up incredible tales.
Why would they, though? Why would they talk about Satan if they're literally like preschool kids?
Oh, because the people
This
who
was
were
when they were older.
no, the people who were questioning them were leading them to that.
Yeah.
Or asking
yeah.
them, basically feeding them the story that they wanted to hear, and the kids embellished on it. And children's minds are kind of labile. They have a much weaker line between fantasy and reality than adults do. And so they came to believe that it was true because they said
Well,
it.
it could still be kind of part of the Petscop meta lore.
Don't get me wrong. I already knew that. I already knew the thing. But my point was, I think it's what led to the Petscop lore. I think it's supposed to be
it's a retelling of the story, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with Candace Newmaker. It's not like they actually call her Candace Newmaker, but it's very inspired by it. I mean, the Newmaker thing actually happened, but this, I think it's more. I mean, there's just so many parallels that it's hard for me to see it. But I think with the amount of popularity this case actually had, even if it was debunked, I think it is probably the inspiration to like the Newmaker plane.
Oh, definitely could be.
That would make sense.
Oh, hang on. No, I just had a thought with that, feeding kids the island stuff. In the windmill, you use the tool, pry up basically an effigy of a kid to get a whole bunch of pieces.
Yep.
Kind of like leading kids into questioning and having them answer the way you want them to get, evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Get the pieces for the machine, which now that makes even more sense.
Oh wait, was Tool used to get pieces? I don't remember that.
Yeah, Tool was used.
Yeah, he pried them out of like a child effigy in a windmill. I'll be right back.
It looked very pointy, very stabby.
I still don't like that a lot of people don't ever go back to that scene. Like, they kind of ignore it. Like, I don't know. That seems like one of the most important.
Yeah, like, what the heck? Why would you not talk about that? No one talks about it. Also, the machine, no one talks about it.
I guess maybe because there's no, like, words involved with it. Like, there's literally, like, no words with it. But it's, like, just the image alone represents a lot.
And that brings us to the windmill. And there's just a whole ton of stuff about that. Like, what about the windmill, guys? Like, do you guys have any theories about the windmill?
Which room did the windmill appear in? I know that there was a room,
Tool's room. Tool's room was when we first saw the windmill. You go to the window.
I'm talking about the bedroom that had the little windmill on the.
I actually investigated a bit about what a windmill could mean. I have visited a bunch of web pages about religious meanings and dream meanings, and they all have something in common when it comes to windmills, and it's that they represent change. So maybe this is a bit too much in the Petscop setup, but I personally think if they actually mean change or something like that, they could be like the workplace, or maybe where the new makers actually do their work. I mean, they change people or kids into something new. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if it fully represents change, but I mean,
if we're getting onto that, I can go on my crackpot theory about how new makers are actually just psychologists.
Is it? Here, go on, explain.
Yeah, I'm intrigued.
That sounds interesting.
Well, this is kind of tying into, like, again, the whole, like, things with kids can being a little bit fucked, either physically or mentally.
Oh yeah, psychological.
And new maker, making them new. So, they're just going in doing their psychological work, like, okay, yeah, kid, we're gonna make it so your brain isn't fucked up by this.
That could make sense why they have.
So that would fit in with, like, care. Care's could have gotten fucked up. Get a new maker in there, put her back to her bare state.
That could work.
How the Paul would, I don't know, the green guy would have access to all of the child's rooms.
True. Also, what do you guys think about the camera pointed at the windmill and why it changes height and color and all of that stuff?
That confuses me.
I have a slight. It's just a passing thought, but I wonder if like it's the same as like. I have this theory on Tool, sort of, that I believe was mentioned last episode by Xander. That I was the one who thought of it. That if Tool's a communication device and it changes color, sorry, whenever it's like being controlled by a different person, you know, like when Paul's talking to one person, the Tool is red, but then like the communication's interfered by the other color. You know, it's someone else. I wonder if like the camera is working in a similar way, in which like somehow when it's a different color, it's being controlled by someone else, or I don't know. That's just my thought.
What's in the rule that when the camera's up higher, you can see the windmill, but when it's down lower, the windmill isn't there, right? Is that how it was?
No.
I believe like when the camera's higher, the windmill's not there. I don't know if it's a matter of like it's not high enough to see it. It's just not there.
Well, I'm thinking like fucked up fourth dimension shit, so I ignored that.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
I don't know.
I think I don't know. I know when I said this, I kind of got pushed aside for, oh, that's probably just a stretch. I don't know though. When I don't know when they show Paul go up there when the camera's down lower and he puts it, he's like, this was right up to my head. That gave me a very stark contrast to the note that said, when she limps forward towards you, I will shoot her right in the head. Like, there was something about that made me think about that. And I know I'm not saying the camera represents a gun, but it actually did kind of remind me of that. I felt like there might be a connection there. But, I don't know.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah, because like I think throughout the series, there's like a lot of foreshadowing. Anything that kind of shows up even very subtly, I think could be connected. Especially with the one quote. I think it was oh yeah, all of the little quotes between the menu screens. Like I don't know if like you pay attention to them. There's like a new message in the menu screens. They are like pretty much predicting what's going to happen next.
True. Also, doesn't one of the notes mention like a picture being taken at the windmill? Like it's a camera.
Taking a picture with a friend, and the friend vanishes and is later reborn as the dude's kid, I believe.
What?
I don't fucking know, man.
That's the note that starts off. I've been, in case you were wondering, I went through your room or something like that.
I wish someone would just set out a whole entire like transcription of like all of the notes just in one big doc.
We'll have to do that later. Oh, just remembered, I had a thought about Tool. I go on to my crazy theory about tools.
Oh, yeah, wait, can we bring up the clone poll?
Clone poll?
I know people already figured it out, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't know who figured it out. I just know you brought it up, and I don't think we'd spoken about it yet.
Somebody sent the GIF after, but I wasn't sure if like that was because they heard what I said. But basically, at the end of Petscop 9, well, it was before he enters the gift room with the censored box. So the one clone, it goes into the room, but then you find out as Paul reads the note and then heads into the other room to the gift room, he's actually does the same exact motion as the cloned Paul, implying that the clone knew exactly what Paul was going to do right before he did it, and Paul just didn't notice, which was like a big, moment for me because that made me realize it was like 100% haunted. So I don't know.
Haunted?
Either.
Ugh, I hate that.
It's either haunting or it's something that I personally would also not enjoy is like there's time manipulation stuff going on, and the only reason I wouldn't enjoy that is because I've watched Everyman Hybrid through, and they did a lot of like, or at least it's implied that there's a bunch of time manipulation stuff going on, and I was just like, it personally got really confusing to me, and I really got kind of burned out on that. So personally, I would prefer Petscop also not go in that direction, but I guess it would be better than haunting. I guess
can say it's not like haunting and time travel itself is bad; it's how it's handled. And honestly, I'm partial to the theory that Petscop's on, because I'm a ghost lover.
Ghosts
But
are cool.
they're doing it in a way that hasn't really been done that much, and it's a subtle way. So that way you often find yourself questioning it. So if it is haunting, then you can't deny that they're doing it well. At
They are
least at the
They are
moment.
doing it very well, but still,
it does pretty
haunting
much
such a
everything.
cliche.
It does
kinda
everything.
kills
As long as
me.
they do it well.
So,
it's-
Cliches can be good. It's just a matter of the execution. People really need to get over that bias.
I can't really say Petscop has that many cliches, though. I know some people say it's so overdone. Like, okay, other than the fact that it's a haunted game, what really is so cliche about it?
Yeah, knife can concern
True.
haunted.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't like haunted games. I was hoping that Paul's quote where he said, the thing is probably just an entity. I know he was like, it's trying really hard to make me think there's an entity in this game or that it's haunted. I was hoping that that was just like unreliable narrator doing like a red herring or something to make
It'd be like that thing in Metal Gear with like the one boss that takes control of your controller and makes you play it into a different port. It'd be like that.
it makes you think something and then tricks you. Like you wouldn't get the outcome you were expecting. I was hoping it was going to do that, but the clone thing, like maybe it's time manipulation, but really I just sort of saw it as the game.
Fucking Psycho Mantis in there. He's tugging the strings.
Yeah. Psycho Man.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, and I guess haunted gaming could be good, like the Ben Drowned story. I personally really like that story. I know a lot of people don't like it because the fandom took a big fat crap on it, but I personally liked it, so maybe it could be it could be good.
It's not that I mind a haunted story. It's just I don't know. I just think like this thing has been obviously had a lot of work put into it, either as a game or an animation or whatever.
So then it's not a lazy.
And it would just seem, yeah, it would just seem kind of weird to just like create all that for just like stuff we've kind of already seen before in haunted
Except
gaming.
it's not. You just explained how it's not something you've seen before, and so what does it matter if it's they're calling it haunted or not? It's still something you haven't seen before.
I think he means like we've already seen haunted gaming before. Why not continue with a theme of new stuff?
It's like
yeah, that's what.
Yeah, it's like if someone made a movie and it was the original thing ever, like it was just the most amazingly original thing. Okay, let's take Split for example from M. Night Shyamalan. He worked so hard to make this really original thing about split personality, and then ends it by saying the guy with split personality was actually just a ghost or some stupid shit. Like that would be just such a waste of like a really good build up and with no real outcome that was really interesting or unique. It would just be kind of
enough then.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you don't want to waste a concept.
I guess I just never get that. I don't really care about the end result on idea if it was executed well.
Like I do
Sorry.
agree with both of you in some sense because I prefer the execution to be better, even if it does end in a sort of like cliche way. But I do also want that nice, twist to make it like all seem worth it. So like I don't know, it's gonna be. I feel like it will be something we weren't expecting because everything's so confusing so far. I doubt it's just gonna end in a really basic note. I just don't see how it could end in a basic way.
Yeah, I believe that this author has enough talent to make it so that it's not freaking stupid, like a dumb ending that we've seen a million times before.
I don't like that people are calling Petscop a creepypasta though.
Who's calling it a creepypasta?
Oh, like everyone is. Like I thought like people were over this. Like it's when people called "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" and Five Nights at Freddy's. They're like the brand newest, the newest creepypasta to hit the web. I'm like,
no.
Marble Hornets is a creepypasta.
I've seen lately a lot of hate videos saying that Petscop is a lie and that it's trash. I mean,
Petscop is a lie.
I think it was quite obvious that I've seen a lot of videos, like a lot, especially in Spanish. I don't know why, but there are a lot of them saying that it's not real. It's so
real. You're something that really pissed me. I left Lord of the Rings in the theater because it wasn't real.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Of course, it's not real.
There's too many elves in this movie. I hate it.
The Harry Potter's disgusting because it's not real.
Paul is just doing an edgy.
These wizards aren't using enough science, goddammit.
Oh my goodness.
I only watch
I don't know. I've
documentaries.
seen. What'd you say, Subwoofer?
I only watch documentaries.
Oh my god. What even is Petscop? It's not an ARG.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think it's the thing is I don't think it's an ARG yet. I think there will be ARG elements as it goes on because it builds up in a way, it foreshadows to the concept that either we'll have to figure out the puzzles ourselves, either we'll have to play the game ourselves, we'll get a zip file for it, or there's just going to be something involved with a different website because they have been building up go to the website on the sticker, but we still don't know the website. There is that connection, and that would be ARG.
You see, we will get all of that. It'll become an ARG as soon as the DLC comes out, I promise.
Yeah, the DLC.
Well, here's the thing about like it becoming a zip file that you can actually play. That could kind of kill the PS2 thing of it because a lot of people, and I'm starting to think to myself, don't think this could have been an actual PS1 ISO.
I think it could.
They could.
It could not. I'm not a technical nerd.
I mean,
but even then, it seems to be that it's more like actively being developed. It's not going through step by step like he makes one episode and then programs for the next episode. For all we know, that could be what's taking 11 so long, like out of the game.
yeah, he's
Just having a hard time programming something he needs for that episode.
My guess is he started working on the programming last year. He's taking a break now to finish it. He might come back, and then like he'll be missing, and then I don't know why people are so negative about that idea. Like, why I don't know how that could ruin it. Like having the players play the game and finish it. Like we have to make our own Let's Plays. I think that would be so original. It'd be like a really fun. It would be a fun ending.
It would be original. It would be pretty fun, but it'd ruin the immersion. I think.
We all know, though. I think we can all agree that big name YouTuber is going to do it to death the second it comes out.
Exactly.
And then all the people that made like Undertale go to shit are going to come here.
I think it would be honestly,
Hello.
I think it would be worth it though, just see the ending of Petscop. I wouldn't even really care about the big like breakthrough with all the kids. I wouldn't care. I just want to, and I wouldn't mind experiencing it as a player. I think that would be.
The literal only thing I want is goddamn sprite rips of all this stuff. That's about all I want from the game. Especially that care one.
I'm pretty sure that they have those somewhere. I bet you 100%.
Well, yeah, I'm sure Paul has them on his computer somewhere, but they're not going to be on the internet, I don't think.
How would he change it to let us play it, though? Like,
there's been recreations, no doubt. I mean, hell, I made a recreation. I'm talking about the originals.
Yeah. I bet you that if freaking it came out like as a game that you could play, Matt Pat would be on it. All those dumb theories. It'll be like Sans is Paul from Undertale.
Yeah. Sans is Paul and fucking Papyrus is Null. Oh my god.
What do you guys?
And he's also dead.
Everything is about how Paul is insane and he's a psychopath that's also dead.
And he made the game in his sleep.
Care was his sister. He murdered her with a knife gun.
A knife gun.
Petscop to the Pope.
What do you guys think of the idea that, like, I don't know, this was kind of going through my head, the concept of it would end with him live streaming the game rather than just uploading it? Like, he would end up playing the game live. Would that be cool?
It would be interesting.
That would be better than, like, releasing it, though. Because half the things...
I don't think that would happen. He's
like, for one of the rooms, don't you have to wait 40 minutes for it to load or whatever he said? Like, every time you put a face on the canvas, it has to take 40 minutes.
I mean, it would work to, like, actually, like, be immersed to see him go through that for that long.
I would be hella impressed, because that means that he did code this game.
I know it would break the mystery of what Paul's doing on the camera or whatever, but I actually would not mind, like, him come back on YouTube and be like, all right, I got a webcam, I'm doing face cam for this now. And, like, you actually see him rustling through the notes and actually see him.
Oh, sweet Odin, no. I don't. Face cams were bad trends. They don't need to get in these like cool web series, please, Father. No. I want to see the pit scoops. I don't want to see like the dude's face with whatever random effects he puts in the back and like a fucking null on his shoulder.
He's just a sweaty neckbeard.
He uses he uses the face cam box to like censor things. You just see a giant Paul on the screen covering up stuff. That would
Yeah, he looks- he looks
gets
like
a face cam, but he censors his entire body.
He censors just the face cam is a black screen. He censors it.
I can't.
No, it's just like he has the voice of like the 14, 15-year-old kid, but he ends up looking like a who's the guy that does like the all-star memes? I can't remember his name.
Oh shoot, the one who sings songs and
John
it's all.
Sudano. John Sudano. Yeah, he looks like John Sudano.
Nice. I was just thinking Terry Crews.
Paul is John Sudano.
It is always like the least suspecting image that person has behind their voice. Like, you never know what somebody looks like by their voice.
Definitely.
I actually imagine that he probably looks like maybe looks like rice gum.
Oh my god, no, stop. He
I mean,
looks
all
like
I'm gonna
a.
say, if
He's
someone
Derv.
gets real fucking crazy, this should be possible in which you can get a linguist to analyze his speech patterns, find out roughly where he's from, and try to guess from there. So if you're that fucking curious, I'm sure you can get a rough estimate.
I've done many Facebook searches for Rainer Newmakers and Paul Newmakers and Paul Rainers.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Oh god. Welcome to Petscop.
Welcome to Petscop.
I still think that's kind of
Some
interesting how throughout
body.
the entire series he never says Petscop once. Through all 10 episodes, never mentions the word Petscop. He just says
Yeah.
Well, I
this
mean,
game.
if you're playing the game and you're like explaining it to a buddy, you don't be like, oh yeah, you know, while you're playing it, oh, isn't like fucking Terraria great? You know, I love Terraria, the game I'm currently playing. You know, you say this game. Yeah, this game's pretty fucking weird. He's sending it to a friend, so this is like a friendly conversation in which it's assumed that both know the name of the fucking game.
I think that the Discord itself would go insane if a zip just like containing Petscop was
You
released.
know that thing would be data mined within like 3 minutes, right?
Yep.
People
He releases
people were
Petscop.
being stupid. They were like downloading malware that people were putting in mega zip files. They were just like, hey, look, Petscop, and they were downloading it.
Well, that's what they get for being stupid.
Yeah, I stayed away from that like completely. I was like, you know, if you're putting something in your mega.nz file, I ain't clicking that shit.
It's the modern version of the Winner Free arcade machine ads that used to be around in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
He
I won a free
releases
Petscop machine.
He releases Petscop. It's just Necopara. I would die.
No, it would just be a zip file with a lot of trash data on it and a single Word document
Petscop.zip.
that says Petscop on it.
Petscop.zip.exe. Petscop.zip.mp3.exe.
Oh my god. My little sister fell for something like that, and I had to. Actually, we're up to 3 times now that I've had to unbrick her laptop for her because she keeps like downloading exe MP3s.
Oh my god, I believe it was Vinesauce Joel. He does these computer destroying videos that are really funny.
Oh, I love that.
There's one where he was looking at midis, and then there was one where it's like John Cena theme.mp3.exe.
Seems legit to me. By the way, Vinesauce Joel officially endorsed by the Petscop podcast.
Vinesauce Joel is officially endorsed 100%. Definitely.
Joel, are you downloading boobs again, Joel? Are you downloading Petscops again, Joel?
I need their help.
What's a MIDI file? I'll show you. The Even Care theme plays.
Oh, damn. We probably should not be talking about Vinesauce on this podcast.
Oh no, we're sorry,
Yeah,
Vinesauce.
I can go back. Who wants to hear a shitty theory I had about Tool?
Sure.
You're a tool.
Sure.
Yeah, I am a Tool, trust me.
Eat your sandwich.
So, like, the actual Tool, like the weird little gourd thing, is just kind of like it's sort of like a representative of a Tool idea. Sort of like a multi-tool, but also applies to, like, thoughts. So, like, there are regular tools in the new Maker plane, you know, like even, you know, like the shack where Care is. And then again, when the Shadow Friend is getting out of the blocks to talk to Paul, like a rake and a shovel show up. So there are regular tools, but then there is the tool. So it has to be using some kind of similar definition so they know what it is.
True.
I'm thinking it's
JJ?
just like general for like tool that you use in your mind, like a mental tool, like those like things where you just like make a phrase to remember something. You know, like when you're studying, you'll be like, "Oh, just remember Abraham Lincoln." You'll remember like all this stuff about this guy who killed him.
Yeah. JJ wanted to say something about the Dr. Seuss Daisy Head Maisie, and to be honest about the whole theory, it seems really weird that a Dr. Seuss book of all things, like.
I mean,
what?
It makes sense. It actually makes sense to the topic of innocence being abandoned. I mean, like Dr. Seuss in general's books are kind of representative of what Petscop is sort of going against in a way.
And a bit.
It kind of is an interesting parallel.
Yeah, JJ, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it's extremely interesting because there are a lot of direct references to his books. Not only it's worth mentioning Daisy Head Macy, but I also think it's interesting to talk about his last book, which is called What Pet Should I Get? And it's about two siblings, a brother and a sister, who go to a pet store to buy a pet. And well, basically the book ends with has something like an open ending where the reader chooses what pet they end up buying. The book itself doesn't have a lot of relation with Petscop, but it's worth mentioning that there's one of the pets. They are very weird. Some of them don't resemble actual animals. They are like fictional weird creatures.
Yeah, they're just Seussian creatures.
Yes. There's one which is actually very, very similar to Ben. It looks like Ben, and it's basically some weird flying thing. But I also think it has some kind of relation with Mike and Care because they are supposed to be siblings. Maybe that's what they are representing. Maybe they. I actually don't know at this point, but I think that could be an option. Going back to Daisy Head Macy, I know a lot of you have a lot of things to say about that. So I'll just say that it's worth noticing how when they try to get the flower out of Macy's head and the flower starts dying, she's like dying as well. So they try to keep the flower alive, and I think this is somewhat what happens with Care. I mean, Paul removes all the petals from the flower, and Care kind of dies because her face is like covered in blood, probably because of that note that said that someone will shoot her in the face. Yeah, that's what I think.
Maybe about the Care thing. To be honest, I don't even know what happened to Care. Some people think she's on fire. Some people think she's just like screaming. I don't know.
I don't think it's fire. It's more like blood.
I think she's screaming.
Well, if I can say as like a plant nerd, peeling the petals off a flower won't kill it. It'll just be without petals. It won't attract like bees.
Oh.
That's basically the petals' only actual purpose. They're only there to attract attention to get pollinators.
True.
If you had plucked off the leaves, that would be a different story. So that wouldn't kill the flower; it would just hurt it.
Yeah. So that's why I don't think she's dead. I think she's hurt.
If anything, you just tortured her. So good job.
Ugh, that's all. That's multiple levels of messed up.
If I were to analogize plucking a plant's petals to a human body, it wouldn't be like pulling hair. It'd be like ripping off nails and teeth.
Ugh. Don't. I hate that. I hate that so much.
Yeah, actually, what Spoo said, I think, is also what Xander has said before about the flower.
The deflowering, yeah. Like, corrupting youth.
So yeah.
It looked more like just simple, like, kind of like that just style of, like, video game corruption. I don't know, I guess it could look like a violent image. It just more looked like
it's not like video game corruption. They don't really look like that. Normally, the sprites actually break apart and get jumbled up within each other.
Yeah.
That's
they like
a very
weird.
clear image that's trying to do something. That's
I think he
trying to
means
make a glitch.
I don't think he means like actual file corruption. I think he means just corruption of youth as like, yeah.
Like that, the kind. I mean, it doesn't look exactly like video game corruption, but it has that sort of like glitched out style to it. Like, let me look at it again, actually.
Oh, never mind.
I was talking about both. That's got
two.
Yeah.
Tedicat, do you have anything to say about the Dr. Seuss theory?
That, truthfully, is one that doesn't. I'm kind of waiting to see what happens there. I get that, maybe, yes, definitely there's a tie-in. I'm trying to think of how to phrase this right. Yes, definitely there's a tie-in because we have, Care NLM, Nobody Loves Me and all that. So, yes, Care's kind of identified with Daisy Head Maisie, the character herself. But I'm not convinced that it's something that's going to like totally carry over into the narrative of the whole game. I'm thinking more like it strikes me as being something more like a child would read into a book like Daisy Head Maisie to try to console themselves. Okay.
So like to comfort themselves?
Yeah, and like identifying with Daisy Head Maisie. So whatever is going on that turned Care from A to B to NLM, I think that like the good grief and alas could be the New Maker Plane equivalent of graffiti that Care wrote after she broke out of the school basement,
She is either very strong or very good with a chisel. Those are three-dimensional letters.
those are.
Well, I mean, there's, I'm not saying like literally, but kind of like, and like when you pluck the petals and end on Nobody Loves Me, I do agree that it's more like a, I think that she's not on fire, she's not dead. It looks like the game got corrupted, like kind of in the old style, like maybe she herself is just whatever comes after NLM, that's where she's at,
Well, I can interrupt you. Look, if you see what Hornet put on there, that doesn't look like corruption. That's looking more like her hair got plucked out and she's screaming.
Okay, it would be, I think that ending it on Nobody Loves Me, ending the daisy plucking on Nobody Loves Me, just kind of pushes her farther into NLM or whatever the stage is after that.
Insanity?
Yeah, or, uncontrollable sobbing, I don't know. But
yeah, it does, to be honest, I think it does have that feel of corruption. It's not corrupted, like the game didn't corrupt, but it does have that feel of like spazzing out, I guess, like when a game spazzes out.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's interesting, yeah. Not many people actually talk about the fact. I mean, I know they kind of like stop talking about it. The fact that it's like the stem, like it stabs her through the back of her neck and comes out the front of the neck. I don't know what
well,
that is.
because the flower doesn't sink down as far as the thing that she's raised up on does.
Well, I mean, that definitely looks like he got stabbed through the neck.
Not really. It's a bit off. It's off center, right? The pieces don't really align.
If anything, like once all the pieces are off, it looks more like it's just like messy pixel work, but it's like a kid going right at the face screaming all the time, like catching their breath and screaming over and over again.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait, then what is that thing coming out?
That's her body, like her shirt.
No, like when you look at it like in motion, like it's definitely the stem.
I don't think it's a stem.
Her body isn't that thin, and there's nothing behind it from what I can see. It's just like a shadow.
Hmm. What do you think, JJ? Do you think she got stabbed by it, or do you think it's the body? Also, they do two different shades of brown, so it's like, I don't think so.
Body is too.
But if it is, I mean, nice job.
Oh,
Yeah, her shirt's brown, and it doesn't really look like the stem.
Well, on the
It looks
stem
like it
one, you
just
can
got-
see the two different colors. You can see the difference between the shirt and the pants. So
Yeah.
I don't think she's been fucking impaled.
Yeah. You can see the yeah, she hasn't been impaled by the daisy stem. The daisy stem's coming out of her head.
I don't
And
think
it's
anyone
just-
would
it's
be
just
really happy
corrupted.
having a plank growing out of them.
Yeah. She didn't get impaled, I don't think. I really don't think.
well, I mean, the thing is, like, we do see the thing coming down from the sky. Like, that isn't fully her
It's
body.
on her head, just like in the book.
Just growing out of her.
Was it on her when she was on the
Yeah, when she was all the way
Yeah.
up, it was still on her.
Oh wow! I didn't even see that. I had
Just
to turn on my
attached to her
brightness.
head.
Yeah, I had to turn it
it's-
up all the way.
Actually, wait, when she gets picked up as Carolyn Lim,
Yeah, this whole time, no,
the flower not there.
I actually didn't see that. What I assumed it was when they plucked it, it kind of went through like since we're kind of assuming that like some of the layout of this place doesn't make sense. I assumed it was like the daisy fell through the floor, somehow came up on the other side and then stabbed her. It could be that the weight was dropped, and because I don't know, like the thing comes
Actually,
down.
Yeah,
It's like-
because when Paul catches her, and
Yeah, the
then
flower is still
he puts
there.
her on the child library, she doesn't has the flower on her head.
Yeah, it's on her to begin with. It's just behind her, and it makes it look like it's growing out of her. She's just sitting there underneath the flower, raised up above the floor. Like that's the last little happy place that she had, and we just fucking ruined it for her.
True, maybe.
See, and I know that a lot of the focus has been on care, but that it kind of got me to wondering is, does Penn, for example, have a book that Penn identifies with or whatever that has to do with holding a snowball or dancing on a piano, kind of like Care apparently identifies with Daisy Head Maisie? Does Amber have, a book or something? It just
Amber has a book. It's the How to Care for Your Pet Rock Manual. That's her book.
but kind of,
Oh my god.
Care in reality doesn't have, the flower attached to her head. Care in reality doesn't have, blah blah blah. But once Care goes onto the new maker plane and then starts to go into the cycle of A, B, and LM, okay, well, there's the flower and how many petals, what it ends on, they love me or they love me not, has like a physical effect on her and stuff like that, kind of like whatever book, movie, TV show, whatever you're kind of identifying with, like becomes a part of your character on the new maker plane. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, okay, anybody listening to this, any of the fans out there, research books. We're going to do some too. Anybody who's listening to this, research books or movies. We love comment. Please comment. We love your comments. I know that
Reading is magic, and it teaches you divination.
I know that there's one person on our SoundCloud named like Rena, like with a bunch of A's, and they always comment, and we love it. So please comment. We just find stuff, and then we'll talk about it. It'll be cool.
I wonder if we'll ever find out what the new maker actually is.
We probably will. We'll probably get a good
First
idea of
saw
it by
it,
the end of the series.
zombie or
It's
something.
Satan.
I'm like 99% sure.
Zalgo.
No, it's just like new maker.
Shit, you took my joke.
Do you guys think we'll ever get like a narrator change? Like a new
Yeah,
person?
no, I think that's what's
Yeah.
gonna happen. I think it's gonna be the friend.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
going
that's
to
why
be
there's a
Paul's
pod.
cousin Saul.
It's
gonna
Paul
be
will continue and someone else just takes over.
But yeah, I definitely think it's definitely gonna be the friend, especially with the foreshadowing. When you do come back, when you feel enthusiastic about that cool.
how this whole series is for him. So, like, I think that either he's going to join or he's going to be the new
Yeah,
narrator
it's
for
that
11
either way. I know we're gonna probably end up hearing.
at some point or another.
He's probably gonna be like a huge like dick bag who overreacts to everything. What if that is the twist? That Petscop, the enemy, and the new maker, it's just Slender.
Ugh.
That I would be angry about.
I'd be very angry if it's like
That'd be a good
Slender.
troll. I would laugh.
Yeah.
What if Petscop11 is just unedited footage of Super Monkey Ball? Yes. Oh, the twist is that Petscop is made by Alan Resnick.
It's honestly, it does seem like something you would.
Again.
The twist is there is no ending.
Oh no. The twist is that it's already ended and we're just idiots.
Theorizing something that
I
doesn't.
hope not.
Yeah, it better not.
If it's ended, I'm gonna cry.
Dude, no, I actually freaked out. You know what actually like caught me off guard, but then I realized and it actually really pissed me off because I thought I was on to something.
What?
Huh.
I went on the channel, I went to the about section, and the first thing I noticed was that there wasn't any join date anymore. I remember like a couple the day prior, I went on there and it said join March 11th. It says it again now, but yet like yesterday I went on there and then suddenly it vanished. Like it just suddenly did not say joined March 11th anymore. It was just gone. There's no date. It just said joined blank. And I was like, wait a minute. Did time just loop or something? Is it going back? Like, what's going on? Is there no more time in this channel? And then I realized every other channel on YouTube had that happen. I was like, shit. I thought I struck gold. I got really mad. Joined blank. Dude, what if it just turns out that like this is actually just Nightmind doing like a voice?
Well, someone on the Reddit said that it couldn't be Nightmind, or that there's some stuff against it because he was moving, and that this was probably in the works way before they announced this project or whatever.
I'm pretty sure the only reason that theory came about is by people being way too fucking excited for whatever that my project is.
Yeah.
The dudes come out and just like flat said like, no, I'm not involved. Please shut the fuck up.
Well, I mean, he said that he wouldn't say it was him too.
Yeah, like that could have just been a red herring right there.
But like, if it's Nightmind, great.
If we're
it's
calling
not
something
mine.
like that a red herring, we might as well call Good Grief and the last red herring. He's like, oh yeah, we've gotten this thing to compare character to. It's totally let us off track though.
True.
Nightmind's an unreliable narrator.
Yeah. He doesn't
I don't
have
know.
no
Have you actually
clue what
found
he's doing.
anything on Paul before Petscop?
I
What do you
don't think
mean?
it's fair though to like really dismiss anything like that.
Anything Paul has
like-
done before Petscop?
Has Paul
Nightmind
done
is-
anything before Petscop, guys?
Yeah, have we found anything like that?
I was
Not-
looking up different things to see if there was possibly like a different channel for Paul.
Also, his name might not even be Paul.
That's another thing. They never actually call him Paul other than the beginning.
That could be just like whatever, like.
Yeah, it literally just could have been a random name. I mean, like from what we know, he's very private about himself. So why would he say his first?
It's probably fake.
Like, what if it is Rainer?
No
Paul
one
could have
names
been
their
dropped
kid
in there
Rainer,
as like
come
a him
on.
for something. Names have meanings behind them. Maybe Paul is a secret clue. Who the fuck knows anymore? It does have meaning. I think it was like humble or something.
Yeah. Well, is there any little things that people want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Petscop is cool.
Okay,
It's
that
pretty
does it for
neat.
episode 3.
Goodbye.
Bye, guy.
Goodbye.
See ya.